Good morning and welcome to the 10 a.m. daily weather brief. Looking at today's upper level wind profile from this morning's sounding, our freezing level sits at 13,800 feet, and throughout our vertical column, our winds shift from being near the surface out of the south to a more westerly direction in the upper levels, and our wind speeds aloft are generally modest today, staying under 15 knots, with our lowest levels being observed at even lighter values. And at both 12 and 20,000 feet today, we did observe our daily maximums coming in at about 16 knots. Now, pulling up our most recent surface analysis chart for today, we currently sit under a light region of high pressure with no major weather driving features to really make note of. However, with that being said, an unsettled weather pattern is expected to persist through the weekend and into early next week, bringing isolated to scattered thunderstorm chances almost every afternoon. Today, scattered storms can be anticipated as an upper level trough shifts offshore and our region continues to lie under conditions favorable for storm development, with notably high instability values also present. It is also worth noting that there isn't much in the name of an upper level steering wind per se, so overall storm movement, or at least in areas where storms do fire off, could be slow and begin to pose a flash flooding risk, particularly in areas that have received above average rainfall, and whether that's over the past couple of days or so. But in areas where the ground's already saturated, we might see the chance of some flash flooding. And that moves us to our weekend, in which we'll see continued storm activity as a weak backdoor front crosses the shore, and that maintains our light flooding concerns as it has the chance to drive up some showers and thunderstorms, with possibly daily rainfall totals over an inch and in extremely isolated areas approaching the 2 to 3 inch range. But yeah, looking ahead, next week we will remain seasonally warm and humid with persistent afternoon and evening storm chances, particularly Monday when an upper level shortwave is expected to cross the region, before we see a gradual warming trend towards the end of the week, but likely not reaching June heat level waves quite yet. But we'll keep an eye how the models trend as far as the temperature and humidity go in the following days. And that will bring us to our 24-hour risk chart here for today. A little bit of color on the board, but remaining unchanged from this morning. We do have the early morning cloud cover here persisting, and we'll see that cloud cover start to diminish a little bit, and that is when we start to see our storm chances build in as more daytime heating gets underway and conditions become more favorable. So that's from noon to about 4ish, and probably the hours just after that, but slowly diminishing with time once we get past that 6 p.m. mark. And once we get into the late evening, early morning hours, we do see some orange on the board here for lowered ceilings and lower visibility chances. There's going to be plenty of moisture, and especially when those temperatures come down overnight, we might see some low-lying fog or low-level cloud cover. As far as winds go for today, winds are expected to be light and variable at times, with winds remaining below 10 knots throughout the whole forecast period. And that will transition us into our short-term weather risk chart, for today. Saturday for the weekend. For Saturday, we can anticipate partly cloudy conditions with a slight chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm and a high of 84, and those low-level ceilings indicated by the orange off to our right there. And then Saturday night, we can anticipate partly cloudy conditions and a low of 74, with some possible lingering low-level cloud cover or some low-level cloud cover starting to build in again in the overnight hours. And Sunday, we can anticipate partly cloudy conditions with a slight chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm and a high of 84. And that brings us to the 7-day forecast. So for Saturday, we are expecting partly cloudy conditions as well as on Sunday and slight chances of rain, more typical of the summertime season, in which pop-up showers are the name of the game. And then Monday and Tuesday, those rain chances increase slightly as a short wave moves through the area and generates the vertical lift needed to develop some of those storms more robustly. Timing is a little uncertain at this point, but somewhere Monday, Tuesday range looks pretty likely. And then we go to Wednesday, when we'll see that cloud cover continuing but slowly beginning to diminish. Same with Thursday, and progressively moving into Friday with low rain chances each day in the form of pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures are anticipated to remain in the low to mid 80s, climbing into the upper 80s and possibly even into the 90s come Friday. But pretty standard, typical temperatures for the time of the year. So overall, a nice week ahead with limited rain chances and pretty typical Eastern Shore weather for the summer. Now that concludes the 7-day outlook, and we will return on Monday at 8:15 for the daily weather operations brief. Have a good weekend, everyone.